All right, we'll start recording. Lily says
Just,
we should record.
just in case there's some gold coming happening here.
We start talking before we're even talking.
I have so many hours of recording of, conversations that I think, oh, I'm gonna go back and because that was really good. And then, oh my gosh, I'm just feeling overwhelmed with all the videos that I have to edit.
Yeah, me too.
I know, that's why I tell you I don't want to go down that path. Like, I can't go back and spend that time when I'm trying to go this direction and spend this time. It feels like that's too much. I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Well, and then my creativity mentor Whitney Freya doesn't edit anything, and she will just make a video when she's out hiking or out in the woods or out on the beach, and sometimes the wind is blowing. Half the time I can't hear what she's saying, but I see her enthusiasm and energy, and somehow she gets her point across, and intersperses that with live videos. But her whole career that I've known her, she hasn't done any editing of her videos, and she makes a point to say, it doesn't have to be perfect, that it's all about energy is the bottom line. So there's that. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, so it's really hard to let go of the knowledge that I could make this video a lot more impactful if I took out, the ums and the dead space and whatever. So
Same.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always find when I try to redo videos, they're definitely my weak spot, but they get worse and worse on every take.
Mm.
Like I should have just gone with the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Well, we had a couple of people who signed up in the event for this, so I guess we can, give people a few minutes here to load in. Otherwise, we'll just do it recorded and put it out there.
Okay.
Put it out
Do
there
they come
later.
in? Do they come in? I mean, do we stream it to the group as well, or is it just on Zoom?
That's a good question, because this is like the first time we've had a featured speaker for a networking
Oh,
session. So you're
okay.
the lucky number one.
We
Plays luck.
we could go live. Do you want to try to go live too?
Yeah, we could. Why not? We could do it. I
There
have to
is a
get
feature, not for right now, because I think you have to set it up somehow, but there is a feature too, like I did when we did ours, where there's like a more button in Zoom and you can live stream to Facebook. So I put it on my profile and then I share it into my group when I do that, but that would probably be for another day because you have to like do things. You can't just go
Well,
live.
I've set it up through Facebook before, so I do know
Okay.
how to start the live from over there. So let me see here if I'm. Do. Okay, bear with me for a second.
Erin, remind me where you're at again. Are you near Cali?
A couple out, 2.5 hours or something, Callie, to Sacramento.
Yeah, something like that,
Oh,
right?
Sacramento. Sacramento. Okay.
I'm like in the Sacramento Davis area.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I remember now my sister-in-law lives in Davis, so
Okay, so I'm right next door. I'm in Woodland, which
Woodland.
which is
Okay.
like 10 minutes from Davis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Such a cute area, all those areas over there.
Yeah. Does she work at Davis or?
She's been a midwife for many, many years there, and her husband was working at the university in the
Nice.
research department, I think, what did he do? I don't know. He does something with nutrition research or something. I'm not quite sure, but now he's working for the Waldorf school, being the woodworking teacher, the wood
Oh,
shop teacher.
my dad has a friend that works at the Waldorf school too. She's a music teacher.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So sometimes he'll play music with her at
Uh-huh.
school.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that Waldorf school. Connor went for 1 year, but we discovered that we weren't really Waldorf parents at the time. So it's a whole community and
Yeah.
yeah, lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I love the philosophy of it, and I think, if I was my age now, I would be totally cool with it. But at the time I wasn't, that wasn't where I was at.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think I just have to go do this little thingy-mabobber on Zoom. Preparing to live stream, woohoo!
Hey.
It is setting up meeting.
What is it about going live that feels different from us being in just the Zoom room? I guess
Well,
that's what we're going to be talking about today.
I know. When as soon as you hit the record button, I felt myself change a little bit.
Yes,
It's
yes,
right
me too.
away.
I'm like, oh my God, I gotta sit up. I
I gotta
gotta
sit up, I
Yeah.
gotta be here.
brace myself.
Present.
Yeah. How do I look?
Oh, we are live. So here we are
We're
again.
live. Yay. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, Lily, Holly Rose, and we have special guest with us today, Erin Summ, who's going to be sharing with us in the conversation we started last week about sacred visibility, and we are going to continue that discussion today. It's also a networking opportunity, so if you have a business offer that you would like to share, jump on and share it with us. We're also well, obviously, we are live in the Facebook group, so it won't just be our eyes on it, but everyone in the group. And, you know, what better way to put yourself out there and show up and be visible? So that's really what it's all about. And this is an amazing group with lots of wonderful, creative, spiritual, um, hardworking entrepreneurs in it that have a mission to bring more love and light into the world. So this is definitely the place to be. So we have Erin Summ here. I would love to introduce a little bit more about her. She is our very first featured speaker for the HerPower Connections program. So we'll be having, we do this session on a monthly basis, and we plan to have featured speakers to join us on a monthly basis so that you can all get to share their wisdom and all the experience that they have through what they've invested themselves into their own businesses and speaking into these topics that all of us can grow and learn from. So Erin, without further ado, I'm just going to read her bio so it's nice and clear for everybody who she is and what she's about. Erin Summ is an international confidence transformation coach who supports women entrepreneurs and professionals to overcome their fears of being seen, criticized, unworthy, and not enough, change limiting beliefs and into empowering beliefs, to be confident, bold, and stand in their power so they can actually create their vision for their life, business, and relationships. Erin has been on her own journey from shy to confident since 2008. She used to be so fearful of being seen and heard in school. The thought alone of asking a question gave her major anxiety, and she chickened out. But her vision was always bigger than her fears. Erin is the creator of the Bold, Confident You Unleashed card deck and journal, author of Stand Up and Shine, the 60-Day Confidence Discovery Journal, and co-author of Catch Your Star. So much that you have done, Erin. Erin holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and is a certified professional coach through the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. So welcome, Erin. We're
Thank
so
you.
happy you're here with us today.
Yay, thanks for having me.
So we were talking a little bit before we went live, before we made this official, about your own journey. Let's say journey, that's the right word. Journey with visibility. Tell us a little bit about what it's been like for you to be the person who would do all these amazing things that we just talked about, going from Chicken Little to that. That's a big jump. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, I did kind of feel like Chicken Little. So I actually used to be very shy, like Callie had said during the bio, but you know, I always, since I was little, wanted to make a difference in the world. I kind of like knew that I was put here for a reason. So I always did things to help others, to help the planet, like doing things. I used to run a Kids for Saving Earth chapter. And so we had little meetings that I would run with, you know, we made solar ovens and we wrote letters to George Bush Sr. about elephant slaughter in Africa and different things like that. And so my whole life I've just done things to to help. And so I went through college. I got a psychology degree. Didn't really want to go get my master's. Didn't really want to be a therapist. And I found coaching and I fell in love with it. And so ever since, I've just had to be more visible, right? Like that's what we're talking about today is visibility. So what really started me on that piece is back in 2008, I had gone to a few network marketing parties and I kept getting asked by the woman who was in charge, running the parties, the consultant, if I wanted to join her team. And I was just like, absolutely not. I don't speak in front of people. Like that is not my jam, nope, visibility, nope. Too shy, don't want to do that. And then one day something just kind of shifted in me and I said, you know what? I need to get outside my comfort zone. And at the time I was also working in a group home with foster kids, not making very much money. And I thought, well, maybe I could make a little bit of extra cash doing this business. So let's do it. So I called her up and I said, Rose, I do want to join your team. And not only was that a big, huge leap to agree to sell products and stand in front of women and put on parties, but it was actually passion parties. So I went from no, thank you, I do not speak in front of people to hello, let me sell you some lotions, potions, things that go buzz in the night. So that was like a massive, massive leap outside my comfort zone. But I did that for 5 years. I did it to grow, right? I knew I needed to do something a little different. And I grew a team. I was an executive director. And I did that 5 years and I absolutely loved coaching my team, helping them to be more confident and fell in love with it. One of my leaders was a life coach and she really taught me I can change the way I think. I can change not who I am, but I can get outside my comfort zone and grow and change my patterns and my thinking and my thoughts and all that kind of stuff. So really fell in love with it at that point. And then in 2011, I went to coaching school, got certified as a coach, and have kind of been on this journey ever since and wanting to help other women, mostly business owners, but also professionals, to love themselves more, to feel more worthy of the things that they want, to let go of some of that perfectionism. Literally, we were talking about being perfectionists earlier. Just to really feel more confident in the skin that they live in and in who they are, and just strip away some of those layers that get in our way. And then, be more visible too, get out there more, spread their message more, and make their difference in the world that they want to make. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think what first stood out to me in what you were saying was just that need to be bold and to just do it.
Yeah.
Like there was that decision that you made to start showing up and doing these parties and selling a product that's not necessarily the thing people are most comfortable about. I mean, like that's a super
Right.
bold and like courageous move and
Right. It
really
wasn't selling
like
Tupperware, right?
yeah, and just making it yourself do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think like for me, the most difficult piece of the visibility picture right now is videos. And we had this conversation with one of our group members, Cynthia, who was on last week, and she had some great advice on, it was essentially like just do it, like. She said she did a like 28-day, post every day or post a video every day challenge, and that's what got her over the cold feet. It's like if you're not going to get in the water, you're not going to learn how to swim because you can look at all the theory and read all the books you want about swimming, but it's really about taking that leap and getting in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
And it gets easier, right? Like the more that you do it, it gets at least it feels more comfortable. I know there's like saying it's easier is there's so many other reasons that there are challenges, but in the sense of at least having that comfort level with being out there.
Right. And I actually used to teach a confidence on video course. I would do like a challenge, right? And so a lot of the women were terrified when they started, terrified to get on video. And then so I would give them little prompts every day and they would have to do these little challenges and they got more and more used to it. And it really helped them to show up and be more visible and get more comfortable. And it helped me too because I was doing the challenge right along with them. So, for the longest time, it was like, well, I have to take a shower and do my hair. Like with curly hair, for those of you who are curly girls, you know that you can't just brush your hair and hop on video, right? You have to take a shower, get it wet, put your products in, do all the things. And so I was like, well, I have to look good. I have to do my makeup and my hair and blah, 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 blah. So when I was doing the challenges, some days it was like, I just need to do a video right now, So some days it was just like, get on and with my ponytail and no makeup on and just, things like that. And it got more comfortable to just show up authentically in who I was versus having to show up in this like professional, perfect looking mode, right?
That's so relatable. I mean, like, I'm just like exactly like that, where I'm like, I mean, I work from the house, and days when I don't have clients and I don't have these kind of sessions, I mean, I'm not getting my hair all done. I'm not putting
Right.
makeup on. I don't always get a shower first thing in the morning,
Right.
like, yeah. So there's this like hesitation. I thought about this a little bit over the last week, and I was, what is it about video in particular that bothers me? And I
Mhm.
realized it, for me at least, but I imagine this speaks to other people, is it's really at the bottom of it all is self-judgment. And it's the fact that once the video is out there, it's out there, and like it's it's I can't pull it back, you know what I mean? And I like hate watching myself, and it's really about that whole, self-judgment thing of like, oh, I don't like how my hair looks. Oh, I don't like how my voice sounds. I don't like, even if I thought about even the fact like the whole mirror image thing, of like you're not used to seeing your face the way that the rest of the world sees your face. You're not used to hearing your voice the way the rest of the world hears your voice.
Right. Yeah, and we're not used to seeing ourselves on video or looking at ourselves when we talk, right? When we look in the mirror, we're just looking at our face. We're not talking and gesturing and things. So for the longest time for me, when I would do videos, it would take me, 30 takes because I was I was focusing so much on my face and how I looked, and I was so stiff, and I was going, oh my God, well, these are little, making these weird faces. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Just talk, But yeah, I think a lot of it is too, we're just not used to looking at ourselves talk.
Yeah, and we get so hung up on the stuff like nobody else even notices. I know,
Yeah.
Lily, you just did a Toastmasters event, right? And that was a new thing for you. And you were talking about in your post, I would love for you to share more about like recognizing in the moment how it was really about the energy that you were bringing more so than the perfection of the way that it was delivered.
Well, I think for that Toastmasters class, when I first got there, I was able to be myself and be comfortable, but it's taken me a long time to get there with a lot of practice. And but I did have my phone with me because I work primarily online. That's what I've been doing. That's how I've been speaking. And it's so easy to put a teleprompter up and have my notes there and not have to worry about a piece of paper or exactly what I'm going to say. But when I was in front of a live audience with everybody looking at me expectantly, and I knew I had to connect with people's hearts. And so after a little bit, after the first couple minutes of talking, I was like, oh, this is not going to work. I just need to like remember my points. And it doesn't really matter the words that I'm saying. It really matters the energy that I'm bringing and the authenticity that I can convey. And just sharing a bit of my story about why, my one big idea was why art matters and how to use a sacred painting practice to free your mind, just like Erin's talking about. How can we become more confident? And that's kind of my message as well. And a lot of coaches have that message too. And I know that a lot of women struggle with showing up authentically and vulnerably. And I have a huge thing about, showing any weakness or any emotionality. And I'm coming to recognize and realize that that's how you truly connect with other people, is when they're showing a little bit of their underwear, a little bit of their past that they don't like, and then parts of themselves that they don't like either, because it's like, wow, I never knew you struggled with that too. You look so confident. And afterwards, a lot of one lady in particular was like, I just really loved your energy, how you showed up, and it seemed like everything was so natural and comfortable for you. And I thought, God, it's all an illusion. And and I've been practicing. I've been working at it. I've been, practicing. That's all. It's just practice, 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 showing up for yourself. And Erin, just talking to you earlier about all of your history and the ways that you've been pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to show up is super impressive. You were talking about going, having a weekly meetup, and I don't know how many years you did that, and then 5 years of having passion parties. That's amazing because you have to be the most confident person to stand up in front of the room and sell toys to women, I think. I don't know. But it's also fun. And for a lot of people, it's a taboo subject. So, man, you dove in head first.
Yeah. So a couple points to all of what you just said. Then, yeah, thank you for all that. um, so we'll start with the passion parties, I guess. I wasn't always confident, I was always, there was a lot of times where I was like really afraid or really just not confident. And I really had to really pull it out, or fake it till you make it, right? I know a lot of people don't like that phrase, but I think that's what helped me is I had to kind of pretend. I had to get up there and pretend that I was confident in what I was talking about and being up there, because I was very uncomfortable, And so I really had to like put it on. And I got comments over the years because I had repeat customers, right? So 5 years, I had a lot of people who would see me like in my first year and then my third year and then my fifth year or whatever. And several people had said to me, like, wow, you've really grown a lot in the last however long I've been watching you. You've really gained in confidence. And people have said that in my coaching business too, that have been following me for the last 13 or whatever years it's been, is that they've really seen my growth over the years and my comfort level change and things. So one is the faking it till you make it. Like sometimes you just got to show up and just do it. And that's kind of what I did with my speaking when I first started. I was terrified to speak in front of the class or in front of the groups. I remember in college, it was days of anxiety before having to give a presentation because I just hated it so much, having eyes on me. So my very first talk that I gave with my speaking business, it was with a group that I met with every single week. And there was like 8 of us. So it was a very small, intimate group. And my first speech, I typed out word for word and I read it like with the paper in front of my face. Like I read the whole thing, and that's how I got through my first speeches. Way back then we had telecalls we didn't have video like this back then, so we did a lot of like teleclasses. So I would read my whole script for my teleclass, and people loved it because it wasn't a boring monotone speech. I practiced it a lot and I made sure that I had energy behind it and things, but that's how I had to do my first ones. And over the years, people have said to me, Erin, I could never do video like you do. You're so confident. Erin, I could never do speeches like you do. You're so confident. And I'm like, that's bullshit, because I didn't, I haven't always been confident. I used to be very shy. I am an introvert. So it has taken a lot, and still does sometimes take a lot to get in front of the camera or in front of a room. Sometimes it's still very nerve-wracking, or I just don't want to do it because I'm an introvert and I don't want to show up, but I do it because I know that that's what's A, going to make a difference for me and my business, and B, going to make a difference for other people.
Yeah, remembering our why, right? And remembering that it's not about us particularly, but it's about another person in whose life can you possibly touch with your message that you have to share.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well, let's see, where can we
not
go
always
with
easy,
this?
for sure.
We've talked a lot about what's hard about showing up consistently and vulnerably, for sure.
Well, we have
This
a
is a good question because you just brought up your why. So how do you stay connected to your why when it starts to feel draining? Are you going to go there too? Perfect.
Let me think on that for a second, but I also there was one more point I wanted to make that Lili had touched on about being vulnerable. Like Lili, I have struggled being vulnerable in front of people too, especially on camera or things like that. And looking back at the times that I was vulnerable, whether that was on a video or in an email, written email, that went to my list, or out on Facebook or things like that, the times where I was vulnerable versus just sharing like a tip or information or whatever. Times where I actually came from the heart and was like, hey, I'm really struggling with this, or I went through this thing. Those were the times where I got the most feedback, the most, kudos, the most, oh my God, thank you. I really needed to hear that message because I'm going through the same thing or whatever. So being vulnerable is really important when we're in this line of work, because people really connect with that the most versus just like, hey, let me talk about, being visible or whatever. It's like getting into the emotion and the vulnerability for ourselves is really helps when it comes to like reaching people and things like that. So
Yeah, otherwise I think
important.
people have that sense of like, oh, sure, you can do it, but you don't know about how it is for me,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
so we have to be open with the fact that, yeah, we're just the same inside, right?
Right.
We have all
Right.
those same fears and struggles and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for a long time, and I still struggle with this too, is I really love being positive. I like to put myself out as a positive person and uplifting and blah blah. But we all have struggles, right? And so the more that I can also bring it back a little bit and say like, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I went through this thing, or different things where we're actually not just showing up as this bubbly like positive thing where, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this. Like this is really like this is I'm having a hard time, or whatever it is. That's going to show you're more real, you're authentic. People are going to connect with you more. And like you said, Collie, is this like, um, they're going to understand like, oh, I'm not alone. And that's really important.
Yeah, and it gives the encouragement that if I can do it, you can do it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I
Yeah.
wasn't just born special somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know. Cause some people say like, how are you so positive all the time? And I'm like, I'm not. I just, like that's what I tend to put out in the world. But that doesn't mean that that's my reality every day. So I think it's important for all of us to show up as authentically as possible and with whatever's going on with us. And that doesn't mean share all of our heartache or all of our drama or all of the details, but show up in a way that we can share with people, I'm struggling right now and here's what's going on, or here's a little bit or whatever, just like given even just a little glimpse of what's going on if you're struggling, because that's going to help people connect with you a lot more too and let them know that they're not alone
And
and
that,
not
yeah,
just be
and
this
that
like
it's
uplift them.
possible.
Yeah, it's not like a toxic positivity either, right? Which is
No,
there's a
right?
lot of that out there right now. So it's really helping people to understand that yes, we can be positive, but we also have struggles too.
Yeah. And I'm making a choice how I'm showing up,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not denying that there's challenging things going on that aren't
Mm-hmm.
easy, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you do feel like that sense of being drained or maybe not being in your best space, because I think as entrepreneurs, as you know, coaches, I mean, really, it doesn't matter like sort of what your modality is, but in trying to put yourself out there and be a light in the world, we all go through those spaces and those times where there's, some stuff going on for us that is draining. So that is a good question about how do we stay connected to the why in those moments. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
something that works for you, Erin?
Yeah, I think looking at, so I have my vision board right above my desk. So if you see me looking up, it's because I'm looking at my vision board. But I think that's part of it, is connecting to your vision. Like what is it that you want to create in the world? That's part of your why too. What do I want? That's what I teach people is, what do I want? Why do I want it? And how do I want to feel? So why do I want it? That's part of your why. I want to support women in transforming into somebody more confident, who loves themselves more, who's um, can accept who they are on a deep level and make their difference. So connecting to your why and knowing that if you're not putting yourself out there to support them and you're not sharing your why, then you're not going to be helping other people either. And so the more that you can connect with your own why and be more visible, the more you're going to help other people. So that helps me to remember, like, okay, if I'm not being visible, if I'm hiding because I don't feel well or because I don't feel like showing up or whatever, connecting to why am I showing up? And then remembering too, who have I helped? And then remembering those stories. Remember how I helped so and so with this thing, and remember how she lit up and then she started, she became a coach, or she, started being more visible herself, or whatever it is. So remembering those stories too, connected to your why and how you've helped other people. Um, for me, that helps me to continue
I
doing
like what
my.
you're saying too about celebrating your successes. Like that's an important thing that we often don't take the time to give ourselves that credit, that celebration for when we have shown up and amazing things have happened. And I think having some way, just like the vision board, having some way um, to reflect back when you're in those drain moments, to see that you have done amazing things in the past and there have been beautiful outcomes, and I did it then, I can do it now, that sort of thing. I
Right.
can pull myself out of this, and it's so worth it because my why is this. I'm like you, I keep my vision board on the left of my desk over here. And yeah, it's I think it's so helpful to have it in in a space that you use all the time and that you see all the time, and that it brings you back when you need it.
Yeah.
How about you, Lily?
Mm.
Anything to add in there?
Well, my vision board is kind of my paintings, my living vision board that I add to every day and just can go to whenever I need some encouragement, is just to pick up a color and put it on the canvas and play for a minute to remind me that I can play, and why am I taking things so seriously, and what's getting me all bunched up in a knot, or what am I not feeling good about. So a little bit of time to reflect and process. And then also I think I've gotten a little bit better at just recognizing that I don't always have to be positive. I don't have to be the Miss Cheerleader all the time, and I can't. And it's okay. It's okay when I don't feel like being positive, or I don't feel like being on camera or whatever. Um, just allowing myself that little pass, like, okay, it's all right. I'm 59 and I can decide when I want to show up and how I show up. And so just giving myself a lot of grace and space, especially this last year, I feel has been super helpful for me to recognize that we get to have the ups, and then we also, have the contrast of the downs, and the contrast allows us to really appreciate the ups, and then the downs allow us to recharge and regenerate and reflect and process. So I think we have to have both things, and I just didn't realize that before. I thought I always have to be up, I always have to be on point, I always have to be in the lead, I always have to be one step ahead, and and it's not the case. That's what I'm finding.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I've started finding appreciation even for those things that really just take you out of the race sometimes. Like Erin and I were talking before we went live about having headaches this week. She had migraine, I had a caffeine headache. And yesterday I had to give myself permission to step away from my work and the schedule that I had for myself. And I'm such a hyperachiever that, I really love to check all those boxes off, but I just didn't have the energy to do it. And, I allowed myself to take some me time and, took a bath, allowed myself to spend some time with my husband, just, watching some TV programming and spend some time with my kids. And I woke up feeling so recharged this morning. Whereas if I had just resisted that and insisted that I have to do my work, I have to show up, I have to make this happen, I'd probably still be dragging today. Yeah. So I think that's so important too, right? Is that it's not about being on all the time. It's not about that. That's our perfectionist talking again. It says, we have to show up all the time. Yeah.
Same. I've always been, even since I was a kid, always been someone who has to be doing something all the time, even if I'm in front of the TV. Not so much anymore. I've released a lot of this, but I used to be like, oh, I'm watching TV. What am I going to do while I watch TV? maybe I'm gonna knit a scarf while I watch the TV, or like just relax. Just watch TV.
Yes. I think a lot of us as women are that way, like somehow it's drilled into us from youth that, we're valuable because we're working, we're contributing, we're taking care of somebody or something. And if we're not doing that, then, we have no purpose in life. And yeah, so we don't give ourselves the time to just be present, right?
My
Mhm.
husband, my husband would oftentimes just in the middle of, we're doing something and then he would say, "I'm just gonna go lay down for a second." But it wasn't like lay down. He'd say, "I'm gonna go stretch." But he'd go and he would just lay down on the floor in the living room just for like, 5 minutes. And I'd be like, "What's he doing? He's not doing anything. He needs to be doing stuff." But I found out this is how he recharges and he allows himself to just go into this no thinking space. He's really super good at it. And I've had to watch him to learn that it's okay. It's okay to let yourself just be someplace else and daydream and zone out and not be on all the time. Yeah, I'm getting that more and more as I've been ramping up my work life and just watching him, his whole career, he's gone out every day, at 5 o'clock to go get the paycheck and come home and then he wants to lay down for a second. And it's like, okay, I get it now. I get it now. And how awesome is that I'm learning. I keep learning from him all sorts of things about how it's good enough is good enough. We don't have to be perfect. We just got to get it done.
Yeah. And take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Here's another question for you, Erin. What makes you feel most magnetic and authentic when you are showing up?
Mm. I think when I'm feeling confident, when I'm feeling good about myself and feeling confident, that makes me feel more magnetic too. And when I'm feeling positive, because I do feel better and more magnetic when I'm feeling positive. Um,
Mhm.
so that, when I'm in a good headspace, just feeling good, then
Do
that
you
makes
do anything to pump yourself up before events or online, visibility opportunities? I don't know what's the word for it.
Yeah, not always because I don't always remember, but I try to like put on some music that is fun, that kind of is like uplifting or energizing, positive. I have a playlist called High Vibe playlist, and I'll listen to stuff, maybe sing and dance
Yeah,
around, just
sing,
like
dance
have fun.
around, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I like that too. Yeah, I like having like it's like a what do you call it? It's like a coming out song or like the song that you come on stage to, right? Even if you don't
Mhm.
like have that for the event itself, sometimes it could be like, it's that song that you love that can kind of get you motivated and, get you pumped up. So sometimes I do play it for myself before I like get on a session.
Yeah.
So we have somebody who joined, but they don't have a name in the chat or in the Zoom session. So I don't know who that is, but we would love to hear from you too if you would like to be part of the conversation. They might just want to be hanging out. That's okay too. If you're not comfortable, that's all right. Um, yeah, let's see. We were talking about visibility. What other questions do we have that we'd like to explore? Let's see here. Um,
Well, we kind of were talking earlier, before, before we went live about how do you show up and how often and how that kind of changes over the seasons of your life.
oh yeah, that's a really good
Yeah.
question. That's right, Lily. Thank you for reminding me. So yeah, Erin, you were talking about stages in your career in your life, because you've been coaching since 2008, something like
Uh,
that, right? What
oh,
did
11.
I'm pulling out this 2008 number from the air, but I know you've
No,
been doing
it's
this
not.
for a long
That's
time.
when I started passion parties. So you did get that from
Got
somewhere.
it. Yeah, so you've definitely had different stages and you went through the whole COVID period and that was, a big visibility shift for everybody. So, yeah, maybe you can speak to that a little bit about how, you know, how you've ridden the wave with visibility over the years.
Yeah. So, like you said, I've been coaching. I started coaching in 2011, 12. I went through the coaching certification in 2011. And so, I kind of started slowly with just showing up at networking events. And then I started speaking a little bit and doing some classes online and then doing events and things like that. But then I've also had, different health issues. I had a adrenal fatigue back in 2014, 15, something like that. And that took me out for a while. And so I couldn't really do my business for a year and a half, 2 years or something. And I worked for somebody else she was also a coach, business coach. And so I did her events and things like that. So I was more like the back of the room visibility person, right? For her. And then I came back and then COVID happened and I was still doing business at that point. But then I got sick again, got autoimmune stuff, had to figure out what was going on and then heal my body. So I took about three to 4-ish years off from my coaching business again to heal my body. And so, that's one point is take care of yourself, right? Like so many of us, we feel like I can't take time off from my business because I have to keep up the momentum or I have to, I can't stop. I have to keep going. And we stress ourselves out and then we make ourselves worse and burn out even worse. So taking care of yourself is really, really important while you're being visible, but for a while I wasn't visible at all. Like I did nothing for my coaching business. Um, and so now the last year I've been coming back and trying to get more visible, trying to get more back into that momentum of being visible regularly. I also had a meetup group. I still do, but I did live in-person meetups from, I don't know, I think 2012-ish, 13-ish to COVID. So every month I did a live in-person meetup. We would have a lunch or dinner or whatever, and we would have a speaker, or I would speak, or we'd have conversations or whatnot. So now, right at this time, I'm just doing online the speaker series that I have, the Empowered Women Speaker Series monthly online through the meetup, and on Facebook and Zoom and all that. And eventually, I'll get back to doing it live and in person as well. But as we ebb and flow in life and things come up like health stuff, like international pandemics, we have to flow with what's going on. We have to pivot. And as I was talking about before we got on live as well, certain platforms ebb and flow and change too. So Meetup has changed over the years. Facebook has changed over the years. We have TikTok now that people are on being visible, but we don't know if it's going to last or not. There's all these different things. So we just kind of have to try to really be fluid with our visibility and with our businesses and just keep going in our own capacity and try to accept too, like when we do have issues that come up, like health issues, for example, putting ourselves first and taking really good care of ourselves because we're all we've got, right? So we have to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first. And if things suffer business-wise or whatever, that's okay because we need to take care of ourselves first. And so, when I decided to take time off from the business, in one way, it was a very hard decision, but at the same time, it was a very easy decision because I was so beyond my max that I was like, I can't do it anymore right now. And I took very good care of myself and I'm doing a lot better. So, and now as I'm coming back, I'm doing business differently, right? I'm not doing it the same way. I'm not showing up in all the same ways as I used to so that I don't burn out. And I'm listening to my body. I said earlier before we got on, I took a nap on Monday. I haven't taken a nap in a long time, but I was like, I can't, I can't do this right now. I just can't. And so I just said to myself, body, you're going to go lay down and you're going to be okay. You're going to rest and take care of yourself. Because that's the most important thing. So that's really, we really live in this culture of rise and grind, hustle, and all the things. And it's no, we need to take care of us first. And if that means not being visible today, then that means not being visible today, or showing up in a different way. Maybe you make a post instead of a video, or, whatever. Just we need to learn to pivot and work with what we've got in the moment.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, and especially for the kind of work that we're doing in the world, which is all about helping people live better lives, different lives, more intentional lives, more purposeful lives, however we want to phrase it, heal heal themselves, all of these things. It's like we do have to do things differently than the way the world is showing us, right? Like we have to be trailblazers in a way, because we have to, create our own model of what success looks like. And it's not being on 24/7 and always putting ourself and our own needs mentally and physically and emotionally at the end of the list, right? Because we can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
And I like I say, I truly appreciate at this point that my body gives me those signs that, hey, you know what, you need to pull it back a little bit. You're out of balance, right?
Mhm.
How about you, Lily? Can you speak into that question some too, in terms of your visibility over the years?
Um, I think I feel like I'm struggling with that right now. That's that very issue about, how do you want to show up? Where do you want to show up? How often do you want to show up? And so, yeah, I can I can speak to it. Just saying that it's a struggle, it's a challenge. I don't know if my emails are getting through. I don't know if Facebook algorithm is showing people my stuff. I don't, and it's like how what do I want to put onto YouTube, and then what should I put on LinkedIn? And I think sometimes it can get overwhelming, all the ways that we can get visible. And I think what the most important way is that I really tend to avoid is just picking up the phone and connecting one to one with my clients and my past clients, and just friends in general. So, yeah, I feel like it's a big, there's a lot of ways to connect with each other. And I think just picking up the phone and connecting one to one with people is the most impactful for me. And that's the thing that I resist the most, because it goes back to answering when my mom needed something on the phone, she would call me, and so it was always she needed something. It usually was money, and so every time I have this knee-jerk reaction, like the phone rings, like, oh my God, pretty soon you stop answering, and and then just to pick up the phone is like, it weighs like 1,000 pounds. So I've had to really kind of get beyond that, or I'm trying to reframe it in my mind. Maybe Erin can help me. Maybe she's got a good reframe for me. Because I feel like that's what coaching does, right? It helps us to reframe these problems or these challenges that we have in such a way that it makes it easier for us to do the things that we feel resistant doing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I like what you say though about connection, really being the heart of the matter. When we are being visibility, when we are being visible, if we want to go to the deeper why, it's really about we're wanting to make connections with people. And so, yeah, to what you're saying, those one-on-one phone calls, they matter a lot. And, they should be a big part of how you're being visible. And it is not just your potential clients, but it's your friends, it's your collaborators, it's your family members, it's all the people that you're wanting to show up with, because ultimately it's about connection. 2025 is my year of intentional connection. That's what I named the year. So I come back to that one over and over again, and how just bottom line important it is, and how it's truly what it's all about is making the connections.
Yes, I agree.
I love that.
Yeah, meeting people where they're at, listening and hearing, more so than putting our words out there. There's plenty of words floating around in the ether, but it's really the connection that people are so hungry for, which also goes back to that point we made earlier about showing up with your energy, more so than what you say. It's how you say it, and it's because your real goal is to make a connection through what you're putting out there.
Yeah, and I think capturing your energy in the moment is kind of key too. Just being able to recognize it. Oh my God, I just had a great experience and I want to share it right now and not delaying, right? Because delay is a killer of dreams. So it's just like, do it now, do it now, do it now.
Yeah. And like I was saying earlier too, in terms of the do it now, you know, how I was talking about, well, I have to take a shower and put my makeup on and do my hair, blah, blah, blah. Well, just show up. And that's the thing about one of the things I love about TikTok is that people just get on there and they just do a video and they're just themselves, you know, they're in their pajamas, they're whatever. They just show up and they just talk and they just do their thing. It's not like this scripted video, you know, and that's what people I think are really wanting these days is just be you, just be your authentic self. They're not resonating as much anymore with the scripted videos and the really, you know, showing up not authentically, right? Just be you. Just, you know, be on your walk, and if you have a thought going through your head, get on video and share it. Post it.
Say it out loud, right?
You know?
Just say it out
Yeah.
loud with the video running. That's all the difference it makes, right? It's
Right.
already happening
Yeah.
in your head anyway.
Right, right. And one of the most popular videos I ever did was several years ago. I had my first hater, and I say,
Congratulations.
thank you. I know, and that's what the video is about. I was like, yay, I've made it. I have somebody, I have a hater. And you know, the basic story was it was somebody I knew, and it was from, you know, business community, and I knew that this person burned bridges everywhere she went. So it really was not upsetting to me in the sense of like, oh my gosh, this person that I really like care about is a whatever. It was just I knew that this person is a very drama filled person, and this is her jam, right? But so I get on Facebook Live later that night. It was like 9:30 at night. I'm in my hoodie. I had makeup on earlier that day, but it was like, you know, it was under my eyes.
Smudged
It was
out.
like all, you know, like worn off by the end of the day. I'm in my living room in my chair, just like chilling. And I'm like, hey guys, I had my first hater. Just wanted to let you know, like, I've made it. Yay. You know, and I'm like celebrating that I had this hater. And I'm talking about how it means you've arrived, right? Like if you have somebody who doesn't like something that you're doing, it means you're doing something right, you know? And so I just got on for like 10 minutes and just kind of stream of consciousness talked about what happened and how, yay, I have a I have a hater now. It's something to celebrate. And I got like 1,000+ views fairly quickly on that video because I was being authentic and I was talking about what happened. And I was just showing up in my authentic self instead of, oh, maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow after I do my hair and makeup and then I'll be in my office and, you know, but that's, I think, what really people are really yearning for these days and they're thirsty for is just people just being authentic. They don't want this perfect show up in your perfect house with your perfect outfit and your perfect makeup person, you know? That's just not real. And that's,
Isn't it real? Yeah.
yeah, people are wanting just real, you know?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Is there more that's just wanting to overflow right now, or we can start wrapping it up here?
Well, Erin, are you promoting anything
Oh
right
yes,
now
please,
that you want
Erin.
to share?
Well, the speaker series, the Empowered Woman Speaker Series, is coming up again in a couple weeks. It's on June. Like what month are we in? June 5th.
June 5th, Erin.
Yeah, June 5th from 1 to 2:30 Pacific. And I can drop the link in the Facebook group under this video because it's live, I think, in the Facebook group, right?
Perfect.
So I'll share the link, but you can sign up. It's an hour and a half, and I have 4 speakers, myself and 3 others, and we talk about all sorts of different things, women empowerment and uplifting, and it's a nice, fun hour and a half where we just talk about different subjects, and that empower and uplift us and positivity, and it's a great hour. So yeah, I'd love to
That
have you guys
sounds
join me.
amazing. I know
And I want to point out that behind your head is the cards from your Oracle deck, right?
Yes.
Because you have a fantastic Oracle deck. I was looking at it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'll show you really quick. It's
Oh,
the
can you pull a card for us?
Yeah, it's the Bold Confident You Unleash transformation card deck I created. I took a lot of the pictures in the deck, not all of them, but a lot of them. So I'll pull a card for y'all real quick, and then we can wrap up. Ooh, this is a good one. Acts of Courage. So on the back of every card is either like a little confidence lesson with maybe a question, and I have a journal that goes along with it you can get to. But so there's either like a little lesson and some questions to take you deeper into your confidence building, or there's an affirmation. So like this card, the I Am Confident card, has an affirmation on the back. So the Acts of Courage says, the Latin root of courage is cor, meaning of the heart. Acting with courage in your heart is one of the best ways to overcome fears and build confidence. Ask yourself, when was a time I felt scared but was courageous anyway? Who was I being in that moment? Maybe you got outside of your comfort zone, took a big leap, a baby step, or a bold action. Today, take a courageous action on something that you've been scared of. Be bold, be brave, take action. You got this. That's like the perfect card for today.
Right?
Perfect card.
You must have planned it.
I totally did.
I so love that about the universe. It's always providing, right? There's so much synchronicity. All we have to do is be looking for it and tapping into it, and it just shows up just magically like that, right?
Yeah. So thank you, Lily, for asking.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
glad
you,
thought of
Erin.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, next week we continue our discussion of sacred visibility. We're going to be doing a masterclass, Lili and I, Beyond Business Cards, Authentic Connection Strategies for Female Spiritual Entrepreneurs. So we're going to break this down and get kind of tactical and get into some strategies and so forth that can help us be more confident, be more courageous, overcome all of the jitters that we have around showing up authentically. So you can find the event post in the group, in the HerPower group for that, and you can register for the link and get on and take advantage of that. So that's going to be next week, Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. It's a 90-minute session, so 1 to 2:30 p.m. So we would love to have you there. Thank you so very much, Erin. You've been a very gracious guest, and I really appreciate you coming on with us and talking about visibility.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thank you, Erin, and thank you for watching. We love you. See you next
Everybody,
week.
have a great day and a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Bye.